The first impression that comes to our mind about any college: tall buildings, big classrooms, large lobby areas, thick books, IT labs, assignments, class tests, and projects. Nothing besides that. Every hour, minute, second spent here help us carving and shaping our persona, cultivating innovative mindsets for the challenging world. Learning is a lifelong process. Sharing knowledge, inculcating values of life, spark the innovative horizons of mind. Fun and frolic is the nature of every nook and corner here. A daily dose of thrill we are sure to get here.
A very good morning to one and all present today. I, Dr. Manasvi Maheshwari, Associate Professor, DME Media School, Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida, welcome you all to the Students Induction Program SIP-2021. I welcome our special guest, Dr. Vikrant Kishore, who is going to conduct session on changing landscape of cinema in post-COVID scenario. I also extend my warm welcome to Professor Amrish Saxena, Dean DME Media School, Professor Shushmita Bala, Head DME Media School, parents, students, and faculty members of DME Media School in this guest session of SIP 2021. I also welcome all the viewers who are watching us live on Facebook. I would like to take a moment and introduce Delhi Metropolitan Education to our viewers. Delhi Metropolitan Education DME is an A-grade premier educational institute affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi, approved by Bar Council of India. The institute offers BBA, BALLB, BBLLB, and BAJMC programs. DME believes in imparting world-class education to its students while training them to develop and enhance their skills. This education and training enables them in taking up challenges of the industry and creating a space for themselves with their competence and vigor. DME Media School is one of the most promising media institutes in the country. It offers BA in journalism and mass communication. It is recognized as a school focused on growth of its faculty and students through academic and co-curricular activities. Major flagship events and initiatives of the school include BG Varghese Lecture Series, Peer-to-Peer FDP, International Film Festival SIFI, International Conference ICANN, Vritika Convention of Media Students, and newly added in the list is VIS Vibrant India Series. The Students Induction Program 2021 has been designed with the aim of providing industry interface to our young aspiring journalists. We invite experts from industry and academia to share their experiences with the students and apprise them with the nuances of the media industry. Today's session will be presided over by Dr. Vikrant Kishore, Senior Lecturer in Screen and Design, Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia. Now I request Professor Amrish Saxena, Dean DME Media School, to officially welcome the guest and introduce the topic to our attendees. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Manasvi. This is part of this student induction program, as Dr. Manasvi Maheshwari has already told you all, because the whole 1 week long sessions that we organized with all eminent people, with all good people having expertise in their respective areas. So we planned this, and in this series, this is the 4th lecture, and tomorrow there are 2 more lectures happening. So this is basically focused on whatever changes are happening in the entertainment industry, in the field of cinema, and across borders, because this pandemic has changed so much in every respect, in almost all the sectors of media. So same has happened. A number of things you people would have witnessed here itself in India, the way the viewing habits have changed, the contents have changed, from going theater to enjoying the films on the OTT, and the fresh contents, keeping OTT in mind. All that is happening. So these are the things which we need to understand, or you need to understand as a student, from the academic perspective, from the professional perspective. So that is how we have planned all such kind of sessions, wherein you get a further insight into as to what all is happening. And talking about, because I must tell you, you people have joined just, hardly 10 days ago, this DME Media School. So I must tell you a little background about our association with Deakin University, Melbourne. So I requested Dr. Vikrant Kishore to take this session. And I must tell you this as well, that Dr. Vikrant Kishore has been associated with us with DME and DME Media School for the last 5 years or so. And we have been doing a lot of things together. Be it the international conference ICANN, be it the SIFI, the International Film Festival, the third edition of which is going to start on 17th of this month. And we have been doing all this successfully. And so that is how, when it comes to the international exposure, when it comes to understanding the things in the global perspective, Deakin University and Dr. Vikrant Kishore is always there with us. And helping our students to learn new things and all. He has even facilitated such kind of sessions wherein some good people, some eminent people were addressing the students in Deakin University. And he also allowed the students of DME Media School to attend those sessions. So this is completely a different kind of exposure that you people will be getting by staying in DME Media School. So, whatever we talk about this collaboration, whatever more I can tell you, but then there is no end to this, because this collaboration is at multiple layers, at multiple levels. Now, coming back to this today's session, as I already explained, and a lot of things are happening in Australia, which Dr. Vikrant Kishore keeps us telling. And in SIFI, International Film Festival, we have also scheduled those kind of sessions wherein the India-specific content which is being produced in Australia, particularly, and in other parts of the world. So you will get an idea as to what all new developments are happening. So without further delay, I would like, and we also are looking forward to listen to Vikrant Kishore and to get as to what all latest is happening on the front of cinema globally, with a special emphasis on Australia. Thank you. Over to you, Manasri.
Thank you so much, sir. It is always a pleasure to host Dr. Vikrant Kishore. He's a senior lecturer in screen design and design at Faculty of Arts and Education, Deakin University. Sir is an alumnus of prestigious institutes like RMIT University, Melbourne, AJK Mass Communication Research Center, Jamia Millia Islamia, and St. Stephen's College, Delhi University. Dr. Vikrant Kishore is an academician, filmmaker, journalist, and a photographer. Dr. Kishore has more than 25 documentaries and corporate films to his credit, and his area of expertise are Bollywood films, the folk and tribal culture of Eastern India, as well as the issue of caste politics in India. Dr. Kishore has been associated with various institutes and organizations in various capacities, such as Channel 7, December Films, ABC Channel Australia, Channel 31, Delhi University, ZTV, Z News, Bramwell, Rashid, Delhi Press, Imaginations Inc., USA. He has been a catalyst in signing MOU between Deakin and DME, like Amritsar told us. So over to you, Vikrant, sir. The session is all yours.
Great. Thanks for the wonderful introduction, Amrishji, and for the short profile Dr. Manasvi just read out. And before I start, which is a kind of a tradition in Australia, that we start with acknowledging and I like to recognize the various traditional lands where we are located and acknowledge the elders past, present, and emerging. I acknowledge the land, waterways, and airways of the Wurundjeri people and pay our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people. I also acknowledge the struggles of Dalits and Indigenous people of India. So formally, I start from here. Since this is an induction program, I feel out of place, giving a one-way lecture. So I'm not going to do that. And as Dr. Manasvi at the beginning itself set the tone by saying that this is going to be an interactive session. So I would like it to be interactive. I want questions to come in, which I can respond to. But just to set up the scene, and as the topic for today is about how things are changing, especially in terms of cinema across the world post COVID-19. And again, this was already in motion. The change was already there, but nobody felt that the change would come so in a kind of such a fast space, or in such a kind of a knee-jerk manner. So online streaming was already there. Okay, OTT platforms were already there. Zoom was already there. Skype was already there. Everything was there, but nobody knew how much power all these particular things are going to have in 2019. We didn't know. If somebody asked me about Zoom, I would just laugh like, oh, I don't want to get into online thing or meeting with my students. I would just have one-off Skype meeting with with my colleagues, and we were trying to go online, but it wasn't something which was endorsed. And bang, 2020 March, and suddenly Zoom became the keyword around that time. And we all were like, overnight, we were changing our syllabus, we were changing our way to communicate with students, to communicate with people across, across the board, and to teach, most importantly for us. And suddenly we realized the power of online media, and then every day we would get to know, oh, these are the things that we can use, and this is how we can get the students to be engaged with us. So it was kind of a eye-opener, first 2-3 months of COVID-19, where it was a kind of a situation where we were still trying to see that, oh, it's just going to be a short-lived thing. We didn't realize that it's going to be a 2-year-long thing, which is going to not only impact one specific country, but the whole world. It's not going to impact one particular profession, but everyone across the world. And there are lots of problems because of COVID-19, but then there are also lots of opportunities that COVID-19 threw up. And when I come to see the kind of issues that we had in terms of teaching cinema, there were multifarious issues, but we also try to, work through that. And that's what you are also in this particular situation as new students coming into that, the post-COVID world, or we are still in the COVID world. Post-COVID world is yet to happen, because every day there is a new variant coming in, and suddenly it, puts a pause on what we are doing. So, but still in that kind of new reopening and new structure, what has happened that in last 2 years, huge changes have come. People have understood the kind of power of online media, of OTT platforms. Earlier for me also, going to cinema would be the, kind of a high, going out at least twice a month, at least watch films in going into the theater. Now I don't, in last 2 years, I don't even feel like going back, or I'm ready to go back to theater, because I'm not sure, where this new variant or whatever will happen. So I would like to keep myself still safe. And the changing format is not just that OTT platforms, but the screen size has also become bigger and bigger. So when we were, your age or students, at that point of time in our home, we started with something like 21-inch television screen, and then going on to 29-inch television screen. That used to look very big, the 4:3 format. And then from 4:3 format, the analog television screen gave way to digital TV screens, and digital TV screens, then we moved into 16:9 format, which we are talking to you. This is 16:9 format. Earlier, it used to be 4:3, the traditional TV or analog TV. And now from there on, the TV size kept on increasing. So now most of the people are even, having 32-inch in a kind of a general way. But if I look around Australia, 50-inch has become a kind of a standard television. And people are now spending lots to buy bigger and bigger screen. Again, 75-inch has become. So why I'm talking about these kind of size of screen is also because that cinema has somewhat come closer to home. All right. So it was that big screen experience that people used to talk about of going into theater. Of course, a TV screen of 100-inch can't match a cinema because it's a huge screen. But still at home, if you can get a feeling of, a 75-inch screen or a 100-inch screen, that's nothing like it. And in fact, my first investment after COVID-19, once it started, the lockdown started in March. By June, I had ended up buying from 50-inch, I ended up buying a 75-inch TV because I wanted to watch all my content in a bigger screen. So that was my investment at that point of time in 2020. And I'm so glad that I did that, that at least I don't feel like going back to cinema. But saying that, there have been lots of transformation. And also not only transformation, but also in a way, kind of small win for lots of kind of short time storytellers, people who would not get, acknowledged or not get distributors for their films to be screened in theater. Or another thing online media has done, that now the storytelling does not have a time limit. Okay. So for cinema, generally you would look at feature films to be released in cinema. Okay. So you were looking at anything above 80 minutes and above for to be released in the theater. But now, even if you have something like a short web series, so it's not like only television. So you had cinema, you had television, and then now you have OTT platforms. Okay. But then also there was a saying long time back, and there was a very popular song also, video killed the radio star. I don't know how many of you have heard it, So at one point of time when a video came, everybody thought that, radio will be killed. But now you know how with FM and all resurgence of radio is still there. It is a kind of a media that people like to engage with, and it has its own life. Similarly with cinema or OTT platform, I think everything will have its own kind of space. But cinema will become much more blockbuster kind of an oriented thing. Okay, if you have huge star cast or kind of superhero films, those will be the thing for the kind of films that people would like to go to theater to watch rather than sitting at home, because those are the kind of big screen experience with lots of multi-sensory experience as well. So that's my take at the moment, and I find OTT platforms to be the future. It's the now as well and the future. It will be there, but it also opens up opportunities for you all as content creators. Okay, and content creation is not just when we talk about cinema. Generally, what used to happen that we would only talk mostly in terms of commercial film, or to some extent alternate cinema as well, or parallel films. But with OTT platforms or with students who are doing their mass communication, journalism, films, for you have to look at all kinds of media and all kinds of storytelling format. So be it fiction format, be it documentary format, be it mixed media format, be it experimental format, or be it any kind of thing that you want to explore or tell. And you can do that effectively. There is an opportunity for everything. There are buyers for everything, and there is an audience for anything and everything. So that's what is happening. And so from big screen, and also the most influential these things is your mobile phone. Okay, so the majority of people are actually consuming media is through their mobile phone, the smallest screen possible. The engagement is there, and also the vertical movie making or vertical media making has also become something kind of a new thing that you understand that, oh, this is the way, vertical filmmaking or media creation, sorry. And then TikTok is the biggest example of that, or if you look at Instagram Reels or any of those kind of things where people are trying to become influencer by creating their own content and putting it online. So it can start anywhere. Content creation can start right from your first Facebook post to, Instagram photograph sharing or things like that. So there is lots of opportunities. So, I can keep talking like this, but then I think it will be good to get questions from you so that I can address those specific questions and probably give you some more light, especially when you are starting. There's so many things to explore and so many things to know. So at the moment, I think if you are starting out in this course, most important thing is to be inquisitive, to be curious, and to be open to learn new things. Only when you are open to learn new things and be inquisitive and curious, and then you'll be able to take, certain challenges, and those challenges will also throw up lots of opportunities for you. Okay, so things like connecting with each other, networking, These are very important things in a media course, okay? And there are two things that you will be looking at very, very importantly. Firstly, your responsibility as a team player, okay? So media making is always about a teamwork. So what is your responsibility as a team player, okay? And then your ability to be a team leader, okay? So that's another thing. These are very important and integral part of media making. So leading a team, so if you are a director, or even if you're a cinematographer, or if you're an editor, everybody will have their own team, or as a producer, you will work with. And then you also are a team player within that kind of environment, or even if you're working on your news kind of story. So even within the news structure, you have teams out there. So there's lots of things to think about. So yeah, so think about any of these things, and if you think there are any questions that you want to put across, just do that. So
I would request people to raise hand or put their question in the chat box. And Vinayak, I'll take your question. I'll ask, I'll unmute you. I want to ask something to sir. I just want you to elaborate to them that, because there were a lot of questions related to this, that how film industry coped up with all these crisis situations, because a lot of things moved to the OTT. So do you think that of course, it was a challenge and big screen was not there. So a lot of losses has happened. So how will they cope up, and what will be the future in those ways? So financially, a lot of losses have been faced by the whole industry across the world. So
yeah,
can you just,
like now this is the big question everybody is facing, how to cope up. And it is all about reinvention, okay? Some people waited and watched how things are happening. Some people found that opportunity to sell their particular product to the OTT platforms at a premium, okay? And lots of people also, films that utilized a hybrid kind of release, like side-by-side cinema and OTT platform release. Earlier, it used to be like, cinema film people would not want to release directly to television or OTT platforms. They would always give a kind of a room of at least a month or 3 months, before it comes onto these platforms, so that they could explore or exploit all the commercial possibilities through the theater and other, screening platforms, and then, putting it to television or OTT platforms. But now, also understand that the buying power of OTT platforms have increased tremendously. So earlier people, if you look at the kind of statistics of OTT platform viewership or subscription pre to 2020 and post 2020, there's a marked jump, marked difference in the subscription, okay? So COVID-19, in fact, got lots of people, to subscribe all these OTT platforms. So now, and the biggest change now it's also happening is that now OTT platforms, earlier they were looking for content, okay? Now they are wanting to make their own content because they have got so much of money which has come in. So now they are, wanting to create their own specialist content according to their own kind of study and what will work. So if you see in recent times, there have been, like even in Oscars, if you see Netflix, the Oscars changed its rule from just being, having films which were released in cinema and not streamed on OTT platforms to, acknowledge OTT platforms and get Netflix and Amazon to put their films for Oscars. And in fact, there were 35 projects of Netflix which went for Oscars this year. So it has changed drastically the whole thinking, and it's a kind of a reinvention of that whole kind of structure and working through that. So, and it will keep on going. It isn't going to be smooth. It isn't going to be easy, and it is going to challenge everything what was happening previously. But these challenges are also creating opportunities for people who never had that opportunity earlier to be able to show their films to a wider audience. Now you see the kind of choices that you might end up getting through OTT platforms. Probably the mainstream OTT platforms will become, they now have lots of choice. And I was talking to one of the international, head of Netflix, and she was telling me that earlier they used to, look for content or request to people to send content. Now they have a huge line of people who want to put content to them because they have got, and then their whole slots are so much easily, booked. They don't have to think now because everybody is wanting to get on OTT because cinemas won't be back in the same way. There might be a couple of big blockbusters happening, but those will be those kind of high ticket films, high profile or big budgeted films, which can have those kind of publicity, that can create that kind of buzz and can still get you out of your chair. But then if a film which you'll see that, oh, it doesn't have that, visual dazzle or that kind of quality that you want, you would prefer, I can wait for a couple of months, and then once it comes, we'll on OTT platform, it's done. And that's what most of us are doing. I keep doing that. Like I'd rather wait. Even now, another thing which they are doing is that getting straight onto OTT platforms and having a premium price for films. Okay, so in Z Cinema or what Z app, Z5, they did last year, Kali Pili. They directly released that, and then they charged 500 rupees for people to watch it. Same thing with Salman Khan's last film, Radhe. Again, it was again released directly on, I think, Z5 only. And so what they did was that you just pay 500 and you get subscription for a year for the Z5 platform. So there are multiple kind of strategies that they are employing to not only get the films on their platform, but also to get the subscription to the platforms. So at the moment, Netflix is has the biggest subscription base, and then Amazon is trying to come close to it. In America, it's Hulu, which is again doing very well. And but then every day there is a new kind of a platform coming up. Okay, in India, Disney Hotstar is doing quite well, and again they have got these kind of special kind of tie-ups with filmmakers and all direct Hotstar release kind of a things. So there's so many things. Yeah.
Vinayak, would you like to ask now?
Yeah, ma'am. Hello, sir. Myself, Vinayak Yadav. And so my doubt is like in early 80s and 90s, there was a period when people used to predict like movies will be watched on television and people will not go to cinemas. But people are going to cinemas, and still today also, people are predicting that movies will be watched only on OTT. So is there any chance like OTT platform will like increase and cinema will be like literally dumped inside the ground?
I think I've already answered your question in my previous opening itself. I used the term, video killed the radio star, and how people, thought that radio will be, wiped out. So everything will have its space, but then it will be all about the ease of what you want. You will have more choices, but then yes, cinema is going to have a detrimental impact because not all cinemas are going to survive. That kind of having 5-screen theaters and thinking that all 5-screen theaters are going to be houseful for next 2 years till this particular virus is there, it's going to be difficult. It will, of course, it will depend from country to country and the kind of response of people are towards the virus. Okay, some countries are very cautious, like in Australia, people are very cautious. So going back to theater, it's not happening the way it wants. Okay. And it won't happen. It won't go back. And my prediction for Australia is that cinema is not going to be the same. Yes, it will remain there. Again, I'll come back to that. That blockbusters will be the driving force. People still want to go to. There was recently a film, and what was his name? Ridley Scott, I think he directed it, or someone. And that director was quite, his rant was that. I blame the millennials. They are stuck on their mobile phones and mobile phone screens, and they want to watch everything. They don't want to come to theater, and that was a rant. And I'm still not getting that what was the main thing, but it was all about his film didn't get the kind of box office which he was expecting, and the blame was shifted. But then there are multiple factors. It's not about just screens and mobile phones and all. So if there is something good, people would like to go and watch. And cinema is not just about going to a theater. Cinema is always about an event, it's a night out or it's an evening out where you go out, you spend on food, you spend on film, you come back, and then, so there is a kind of a chunk of time that you spend on going to cinema. So vis-a-vis sitting at home, doing your work and watching a movie. So yeah, that trend is going to change. That kind of situation is going to change. Cinema will be there, not only today, it will remain hereafter. So I don't say that it's going to be, but it will be challenging for lots of small time operators, or even lots of people who have to be dependent on the kind of cinema returns.
Right. So, ने बहुत सही कहा. It's a basically when you go to watch a movie, it's a kind of a family event. So you're going together, you're spending time, or you're going with friends. So किसी भी एक मीडियम के आने से एक दूसरा मीडियम खत्म नहीं होता है, उस पे इफेक्ट आता है, इम्पैक्ट आता है, but then they revive in a different way. So Shashank, you want to ask Shashank Kumar?
Sir, my name is Shashank. I want to question that you and our dean Amrish sir have written a book, The Indian Cinema. Can you throw some light on that, please, sir?
Indian cinema, it's not a book which we have written. We have edited that book. Okay, so there is a difference between a written book, an authored book, and an edited book. An edited book is something where you get few people to submit their articles, and then you vet those articles, and you go through those and find the best articles, and then you get all those contributors to get published. And then so we basically edit it and compile the whole thing together with a particular introductory chapter. So that's an edited book. But I've written my own books, and Amrish ji has written his own books, and my area is, of course, Indian cinema is my area, where we explore different areas of Indian cinema. I like to look at Indian cinema and its impact of the popular culture on folk culture. So that was my first book, From Real to Real, Folk Dances of India in Bollywood Cinema. So that was it. And then I'm working on another book on creativity in Indian cinema. So that's another thing which is an ongoing project that is going to be a fully authored book. Yeah, so it's a different thing, but probably that's a kind of a bit digression from the focus here. So I'll come back to the focus point on this here.
So sir just mentioned about his book on creativity, and there's one question in the chat box from Yash who wanted to know how we design very creative and attractive, how we develop creativity, how do we get into the developing and creating new things. So
yeah, thanks Manasvi, and thanks Yash for your question. So how do we design very creative and attractive things? Okay, so creativity is something, either it is inborn or something that you develop. Okay, and anything that you work on can be a creative thing. Film in itself, doing a film or doing any kind of media, it's a creative output. Okay, so anything that you create, okay, a film is a creation. Okay, a music piece is a creation. Okay, so those are itself a creative piece. Okay, so anything that you are putting your effort to give it a shape. Okay, so photograph, it's a creative piece. Okay, a poem, it's a creative piece. So all these things are creative. So creative is about you putting your own effort to make it to come to life. Okay, now how do we design and creativity? That's two different things. So designing something nice, okay, can be creative, and a creative thing cannot be very attractive also. Okay, so there are it's a kind of a huge philosophical kind of a take as well, which I might take here, but not getting into that kind of a very detailed analysis of that. Basically, firstly, understand your art, understand what you need to do, understand what particular format you are doing. So if you are going to do a film, then what is the kind of film that you are making? What is the genre that you are going to tell your story in? If you are going to do film, so creative decisions like, what are creative decisions? Will I do a kind of, creative decision could be, do I want to shoot with my phone, or do I want to shoot with a, red camera? Creative decision could be, do I want it to be a black and white film, or do I want it to be very highly saturated thing? So creative decisions are already inbuilt there in different things. Okay, and then what kind of sets you want, what kind of colors you want, how you want the person to look. So there is creativity involved in each and everything. Okay, Also, for example, how is creativity in Bollywood different, or how is, if, there was a panel discussion I was a part of, and then we were discussing how Bollywood filmmaking is different from Hollywood filmmaking. Okay. And this was a question to someone, that how do you define creativity in Bollywood? And I said that creativity in Bollywood actually starts even before the films is made. It starts from the music. Okay. Lots of times the films are made around the music. Okay. So firstly, the director always, before, lots of times they are looking at, oh, what hit music can we create? And suddenly they find 5 good music from T series, and they say, okay, we are going to bring those music. And then they start designing the whole story around the music. So that's another one kind of thing. Or the other way is to find a story, and then according to story, they start building in the music or building in the kind of structure and things like that. So creative process in Bollywood films, because it is a heavily music and dance kind of a film structure, that is first thing which makes it different from Hollywood. Of course, now Indian films are trying to emulate Hollywood kind of storytelling, moving out from song and dance structures, but mainstream commercial films are still, wanting to use song and dance. And I love films which actually uses song and dance nicely within the structure of the story. I really enjoy those. Sometimes I miss those song and dance not coming in the film, which really takes on very Hollywood style structure or European film structure. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes I still want the song and dance sequences. But then also those kind of understanding. So music integration, again, a creative collaboration, which is very unique to Bollywood. Now, dance directors, you don't see that in Hollywood, okay? Until unless there is a musical film, okay? Musical films are those highly choreographed, but still they don't call them dance directors, they call them choreographers. So they have choreographers in there. But in Bollywood, we have got someone like dance director, and dance director actually, they direct that whole song and dance, and the director doesn't have anything to do. They will just say, okay, the dance director needs to do all those things. This is the storyline. This is the, this is where they are going to cut. This is where they are going to start, and now build a whole song and dance from there. Lots of time they don't find the cut point, and they will make a situation where the hero starts dreaming, and then suddenly they are, from Indian village, they will end up in a Switzerland, mountain area and dancing in that, snow fall, without any kind of, interaction or no understanding of where did this thing come up in the film, because the film doesn't take place outside India, and they have never even visited to Delhi or Mumbai, in that story context, but they take the liberty of dream. Okay, dream is free. You can dream and you can be anywhere. So Bollywood provides those kind of, touristic gaze to people to travel anywhere and everywhere. So those are the kind of things, but again, very creatively or kind of set creative things which they use or misuse. It can be used in different ways. So yeah, to come back to your question, creativity is in everything that we create, okay? And media production itself is a creative pursuit, okay? How you make it, what are the design factors, how you want to tell your stories, those are the creative decisions which finally will put your film within a particular kind of a genre, a structure, a kind of thing that eventually people will analyze and assess as to, were you creative enough or not? Sometimes creativity backfires, but then at the end of the day, it will always remain a creative output. Okay.
Next,
Thank you, sir.
Aditya Goswami.
Ma'am, my question is, how can we send a script to different OTT platforms?
Well, the shortcut is try and become a part of these film festivals and film markets. They have these kind of opportunities for budding or emerging script writers. So you become a part of those kind of script writing sessions, okay? In fact, in the Film Festival of India, that takes place in Goa, they always have these kind of script writers conclave, and those are good opportunities for people. So there is a whole process, okay? And even if you think you have written a good script, it won't end up anywhere, okay? So now, because there are so many people who are wanting to do script writing and different things, you have to go through a structured route. You need to know firstly as to what you have created. Is it going to make a mark? So lots of times, students like you are creating their own projects or putting their script, finding the places like film festivals which are accepting scripts, or accepting some pitch for scripts that can be invited to be a part of those script writing development program or script development program. So NFDC, National Film Development Corporation, used to do a film bazaar a few years back. I don't know if it's still going or not, but they used to get lots of script developed during the NFDC's film bazaar in Goa. And I've seen lots of students like from FTII or MCRC, Jamia and other places who would put in their application there, get selected there, and then their script would be selected, or one or two might also find some financier or producer, okay, to and then there have been some films like I remember there was this film Titli, which was an award-winning film, which was developed. The script was developed in one of these kind of scriptwriters conclave or script development projects. So there are lots of opportunities. Keep an eye for film festivals and all. But the other way is that keep creating your own kind of film, keep your own kind of scripts, put it to various film festivals, going online on Film Freeway. That's a kind of a free film festival access that you have. And it's good to also see that our film festival, SIP-2021 Cineast International Film Festival, which DME is spearheading along with Deakin, that we already are on SIP-2021 this year. And SIP-2021, we ended up getting more than 3,000 films. I don't know how we are working through sorting those films, but then it's a good way to get recognized, get seen. Only when you get seen that the opportunity comes. If you keep thinking that, oh, I have written a masterpiece, but if you are not sending to all the people, or if you think you have done a masterpiece at this stage, it needs to be tested. Someone needs to give you their feedback. So who should give you their feedback? Get your teachers to give their feedback. How can you go? Does it stand any kind of validity? Does it hold any water? Or is it just something in your mind that, oh, I have done something good? So get people's feedback. So your friends, family, but of course, people who are expert in the area, people who can give some time to you. Okay, that's the last thing, because most of the times now OTTs are not even paying attention to small time filmmakers or small scripts. They don't have time for that now, because there is a huge line for giving their things, and now even big filmmakers are waiting. So that kind of area is becoming smaller and smaller. But yeah, I'm not trying to put a dampener, but as a student, if you're just starting out, I would say your teachers should be the first people who should be commenting on your work. And within your classroom structure, if you are able to make a final project in the final year, that should be then sent to various film festivals. Okay. So like last year, in my second year, I teach documentary production. And for 2 years, we have in Australia, we have got a very prestigious award called Atom Awards. Atom Awards, it's Australian Teachers of Media Awards. And this prestigious award is for school filmmakers and tertiary students, okay? So, and it's a very competitive one. And for last 3 years, every year, my documentary students, like last year, 2 of my films were nominated among the 4 films, top 4 films in Atom Awards. This year, again, 1 film, second year students film, is nominated among the 4 films for Atom Awards. The results will come out on 4th of, tomorrow, 4th. Yeah. So I'm looking forward, and I take pride. In fact, I shared it on my Facebook that I'm so proud to see, and when my students' film go out, I'm listed as the producer, because I take on when they are making their film, I take on the role of executive producer or producer. Okay. So tomorrow when they put their names, my name is also associated. So I always make sure that the kind of production they are doing in classroom is according to a certain set standard, and they are able to also approach. And this is one thing which I also talk to them in classes about. Once you have done your student film, and if it is good, how do you take it to the next level? And then I give them the strategies where all they can put their films. And this film, an Italian migrant story, which has got Atom Awards nomination. It has been nominated in about 7 other film festivals. But it all, so their opportunities are immense. It's not just 1, 2, but immense. If you do it, then you get recognition. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And I must congratulate you and wish you all the best for tomorrow's result. And I would like to say this, that he has made it really clear, and what we have been telling you in the class, that your projects, the assignments, all these things which you do in the class really makes a difference and can give you a good way. And of course, the teachers are there to help you. Gungun Tyagi, you would like to ask something, right?
Hello, good morning, sir. My name is Gungun, and I wanted to ask you, sir, that as a filmmaker or as a cinematographer, when we're watching movies, we normally watch it for entertainment purpose, but if we plan to become a cinematographer or a filmmaker, what should be the viewpoint of it? Like, what should we be observing in those movies or any web series that we're watching? Because I feel that as a media student, the way we interact with media should be different with the way the normal audience interact. For example, I was watching this movie, Jerusalem, a while back, and I watched that like 2-3 years ago, and then I revisited it like 2-3 days back. One thing I didn't observe was that the whole movie was filmed from the point of view of the protagonist's smart glasses. And I felt that, okay, when I was watching it for entertainment, I didn't notice it that well. But now that I'm watching it, I see the whole thing. Like the protagonist was only visible when she took off the glasses or when someone borrowed it. So what should we be observing in these things?
Well, your question is again a kind of a minefield. You know, I step on it and I can spend hours on, responding to that. But to make it short, firstly, when someone says film is just for entertainment, you are totally wrong. Okay, film serves many purposes. Okay, entertainment is one of the purpose. It can be education, it can be awareness, it can be activism, it can be propaganda. Okay, there are multiple ways films can be, made and can impact people. Okay, so films, even Hitler got films made for his own people. Governments get films made or support films to get their social message done. Political parties get films made to spread a specific propaganda. Okay, so as a filmmaker or a budding filmmaker or a media person, you have to keep your mind open and to be ready to understand, firstly, what is the message that film is going to give. Not that how many laughs that you had. Oh, were you able to have that kind of adrenaline rush? No, there are films, okay, when I'm watching, I know what kind of films I'm going to watch will give me that kind of impact. Okay, so for example, if I'm going to watch a film by, Hollywood superstar, like Rock, if I'm watching this film, I know what is happening. In movies like Netflix movie, The Red Notice, I knew it was a mindless film, but it was something like, you want to watch because there's action, there's like, whatever the kind of comical situations and all those things. So you know what you're there. So that's entertainment. But then there are films which are also making you to think, and there is this audience. There is an audience for everything. So just don't think that there is an audience only for Salman Khan film. No, sorry, I'd rather prefer some other films, but I will also have a space for Salman Khan film because when I want to be, entertained, then I would like to watch that. But sometimes I just don't want too much of mindless films like Radhe was again a kind of a trashy film, but still it has an audience, people went to watch it. It also has a fan following, so they will go to watch it, okay? So when you're watching film, firstly, remember why you have gone, why did you turn the remote or you said enter to watch that movie on OTT platforms, okay? If I have to watch, it depends on my mood, okay? So firstly, if I'm going to watch, if I'm sitting in my drawing room and if I'm sitting with my daughter, then I'll try to find something on Disney and something which both me and my daughter can watch, okay? So then I know that it is the main audience is my daughter and something a family watch or just for my daughter, that's what. If I'm in the mood to watch something very serious, then I'll just sit and watch something, or maybe, a drama, a thriller, or I might just, put up a documentary film and watch it, okay? So a documentary film, again, something based on facts, something which, tries to initiate activism or some kind of reaction from you. So documentary films, again, going to be in a very different direction, or a kind of a realistic cinema. So cinema, again, realistic cinema, what are those realistic cinema? Or the kind of, if you look at European cinema or the avant-garde cinema or then, the whole new style of storytelling and things like that. So these are the things, again, you will be learning through your 3 years. So that's what is the difference of being someone from not from a film or media course and someone from media course. So by first year, you will get to know about what all genres are there, what is the difference between a commercial cinema and a parallel cinema, or what is alternate cinema. You will also come to know, about the different style of filmmaking, okay? So because filmmaking is just not one style, there are different kind of filming style, okay? You will also understand, what are experimental cinemas and how you can work through those experimental cinemas. And these are strengthened from first year to second year to third year. And when you come to third year and then ask the same question that you have asked me now, and then say that, why do I watch a movie? And then you will see that suddenly the frames will go in front of your eyes. And when you're watching a movie, knowingly or unknowingly, you are analyzing the film for the kind of content it has, the kind of intent it has, the kind of technicalities it has, the kind of problems it has, okay? There will be multiple things, and suddenly the moment you start grabbing those things, and that will start happening in second year, where you will start writing as a reviewer. So as a reviewer, you're not just doing a review of the story, you are analyzing the script, you're analyzing the acting, you're analyzing the music, you're analyzing the action, you're analyzing the camera work, you're analyzing the editor, the whole editing of the thing, you are analyzing the sound design. So when you go through, or if you attend any of these kind of cinema awards, okay, look at the category of awards, okay? Best film is one of the things, okay? But before that, there are lots of below the line and above the line kind of awards which is there. And you should be by second year, you should be aware of those things. And the moment you are aware of everything, who are the people contributing to these kind of things in making of a creative project, and why an editor is a creative person and not a technical person. Why a camera person is a creative person, not a technical operator. Okay, those are the things that you'll get to know, and suddenly you'll realize that, oh my goodness, the moment I look at certain films and the frames, or the kind of, movement of camera, or the movement of, the use of different kind of techniques in terms of editing, I understand what it is. Then you will also, when you're studying about editing, you will also get to know about the Russian montage theory, or you will also understand about what is intellectual editing, or what is rhythmic editing, or what are different forms of cutting. I'm throwing lots of things because, when I find, these kind of loaded questions which has answers, unending answers, or, so that's why this is your journey, it is starting. So the first, again, when I started, I said, be open, be curious, be inquisitive. And more questions that you are asking me today, take these questions, do not stop here. Take these questions to your classroom, ask your teacher. If you're not satisfied, ask someone else, and read up as much as possible. Watch as many films as possible. Till date, like for me, I don't go to sleep till the time I don't watch one movie a day. I have to watch. It can be a documentary, it can be a short film, it can be a commercial film, but I have to watch something, And it is such a kind of a different kind of a mind now, or a kind of a thing. As a filmmaker, I'm always thinking. And as a filmmaker, it's not that your creativity ends. I feel enthusiastic seeing so many youngsters making something new. It challenges you and makes you think that, wow, how could they do that? I could never challenge myself to do something like that. So also challenge yourself. If you don't have a YouTube channel, create one. Start creating short, stuff. Start uploading things and see, you'll be able to do lots of things by the end of your, graduation. By the time you graduate, you'll see that the learning curve is not just a classroom fed, but you will also, be an active participants in it, because you are also curious and inquisitive, and you are wanting to learn more. And that's what we want you to do. That learning should be driven by you, and we should be the facilitators to give you the right direction.
Yeah, very well explained. And that answers many questions in the chat box, that how do we develop? So you watch a lot of movies, you read, you see others work, and you see, I would suggest that you'd see international movies also, different genres, and the regional films also.
I'll take one question from the chat box. So Vinayak is asking, can OTT be a negative impact, as web series like Mirzapur and Money Heist has created a negative impact on people also? Okay, now this is like, okay, so what do you want to do? Shall we just put Ramayana and Mahabharata everywhere? And that is entertainment, and that is what we all are, people with our own kind of thinking. We all can decide, any adult can decide what they want to do, what they want to access and how they want to access. Okay, if it would have been so easy that watching Mirzapur, suddenly someone wants to become a mafia person, or suddenly somebody gives them the particular license to go out and pick up a woman and rape them, is that the kind of negative impact are you talking about? Is what is happening? Sorry, no. If you're watching it and you're understanding different things. There were like 1980s were just full Bollywood. Every second Bollywood film was just about rapes, because that was the only way they were trying to showcase sexuality, one of the things. And that was the worst time possible for Indian cinema, one of the kind of terrible films and terrible kind of idea to in a way glamorize and exploit rape at that point of time. But did that create that kind of situation where everybody became a kind of a kind of criminal? No, it didn't happen that time. Yeah, there will be some examples that can say, oh, this person was inspired from Money Heist and went to the bank to rob them. It will happen. People found problems even in all those kind of myths and folklores. If we read all the myths and folklores, and if you look at, there are always villains around. Okay, so no story is complete without the tension of good and evil. Okay, so how you are engaging, that is important. Your engagement with media as a media person should be about, oh, were they able to tell the story? Were they able to create that kind of situation or an aura? Oh no, I just watched them killing someone. Oh, I'm feeling something like, oh, I have to do something about it. Oh, I need to go into a negative mode. No, that's not the thing. If that's not your thing, don't watch it. Okay, but do not sermonize people, or do not take that high path that this should be stopped or this should not be there, until unless there is a problem, until unless something is being creating a kind of a situation. But then there are certain checks and balances already there. Okay, all the OTT platforms have their own kind of guidelines. Okay, films also go through those kind of censor board, and although I'm not in favor of censor board. Okay, so there are also filmmakers who create films outside these structures, and those are online. Okay, so so it's a kind of a thing that media students should always be ready to watch anything and everything and question themselves, was it for them or not? Okay, and never be the censor. Okay, that should be the last thing for you to do that. Okay, do not become someone who's going to become a kind of a gatekeeper. Okay, otherwise you will have problem to create your own creative pieces. But work within, so whenever we work within the structure and guidelines. For my students, I give them the guideline. This is what you are going to do. This is the kind of area that you can work with. And if somebody wants to think out of the box and wants to come, we always discuss that. And if I like that idea, I always say, okay, go and explore, do that, So there's no harm in exploring sexuality. Okay, there is no harm in exploring violence till the time, it isn't, there are lots of checks and balances. Okay, so for example, in our student films, if somebody has to use a gun, we have to be very sure that they are going to use a toy gun, which is fluorescent in color. Okay, where people can recognize. Nobody can, feel threatened by the presence of gun in a set, especially in a student set. So fluorescent needs to look like toy. Later on in post-production, you change it. That's fine. But nothing that can threaten or, harm someone. So checks and balance of harms and balances. If you will have seen, how this Alec Baldwin, he got caught up in this kind of film where his gun was loaded and he ended up shooting his own cinematographer. She died on the spot, things like that. But that's not, connected with what I'm saying, but I'm just saying that we do not be the censor. There are lots of things. There are checks and balances. And most importantly, how do you feel making that film? How do you, how do you want to do that? Yeah, so do not judge, because there are lots of people out there in the society judging things and slapping people and getting things banned. Okay, would you want that to happen to your own film or your own project? I don't think anybody will say yes. So do not become that censor board yourself. Do not become that kind of prey to propaganda or things around here. Unfortunately, that's happening.
That's very relevant advice for everyone. Please make it a rule. Shiksha, are you able to unmute yourself and speak now?
Hello, sir. I'm Shiksha, and my question is: when a movie got launched in cinema, number of tickets sold make 100 and 200 crore. That way, filmmakers get their money back, or hit and flop movies were decided. But nowadays, there are lots of platforms that sell pirated movies or web series at same time of their release. So, is it a threat for the movie makers, or is it affecting the cost of the money?
Well, piracy is not now, in a way, it's gone. It's gone. So, yeah, OTT platforms have changed that whole piracy thing. मतलब हिंदी में सीधा कहूँ, अगर आज की डेट में भी जब OTT प्लेटफॉर्म में 10 मतलब फॉर अस $10 पर मंथ अगर सारे फिल्म देखने मिलते हैं, उसमें भी अगर चोरी करके ही देखना है तो भाई क्या देखना है, मतलब है ना. Firstly, as a media person, we should just say no to any kind of piracy. Okay, I strictly have this rule of no pirated or no piracy thing, and we don't discuss that at all. Like in the sense, like we are, like I'm totally against any kind of piracy of films and all. And the impact of piracy has OTT platform has really taken down the impact of piracy. Yes, it has drastically done. Okay, earlier films used to feel the punch. Now, because of the multi-platform links, so the films they release in theater within 2-3 weeks or a month. They release on OTT platforms. They release on multiple different OTT platforms also. There is not just one location area. So you get a special exclusive licensing for India. You get exclusive licensing for Australia. So there are 100 countries to have exclusive licenses, and you get money for all those kind of areas. So I've seen people who have made very small films, but they at the end they end up making lots of money as well. And I've seen people who have made really big budgeted films and they don't end up making any money. So again, this whole box office drama and all those things, it's a kind of a thing for you to think at this moment should be the last thing. Get into the creative zone, make a film. Okay, get into things, पैसा वैसा छोड़ दो, है ना, पैसे दे करके film देखो. Don't watch pirated thing. But these box office return and all, ये सब, once you have something substantial, then you'll start thinking about it. Abhi, as a student, just enjoy that whole freedom of making anything and enjoying your creative pursuit rather than being bogged down upon all these things. Yeah.
Sajal Mishra, are you there? Would you like to ask now?
Yeah, ma'am. Sir, I'm Sajal Mishra. Firstly, really appreciate how you started with formal acknowledgement. I really got a great insight from that. And my question is, what are the upcoming international opportunities post-COVID?
Immense.
As a student.
Immense. As a student, firstly, Zoom, now you all are getting so much of exposure. Like I see Amreshji posting every day with some international, academic or filmmaker that you are having those kind of opportunities. Also, like for last 3 years, we have been collaborating with DME for SIP-2021 and ICANN. Those are international collaboration, and that's where we also get to watch your projects. We get to work with you closely, and it's always an inspiring thing to see, the students in action. And I'm always, very appreciative of, especially students from DME, that the kind of work they end up doing, or even the staff members are always, working along with you to create all these kind of big projects. At Deakin, we are, we don't do this high level of project with so many students happening at the same time, and with the way, Amreshji or Sushmita, Balaji, and other staff members have been engaging with you all, those are really good things. And then they providing you with that opportunity to engage with international academics, that's the best thing happening. So opportunity has already started for you to be noticed. Okay, So in SIP-P, if you win an award, you're not just being noticed by DME people, but you are being noticed by, Deakin also. When your certificate comes as best filmmaker or just as a certificate of appreciation, it also has Deakin's logo. So international acknowledgement starts from there itself. Okay, and then it's all about reaching out. What do you want to do? So international. So I'll just give you an example. At the moment, I'm doing an online virtual folklore festival. Okay, where we are celebrating the folk culture of the world. Okay, and it was only through virtual connection that I got people from 14 different countries. We had the inauguration on Saturday last week, and our next one is this, in fact, tomorrow. Tomorrow is another one. I'll share the link with Amrish ji for audience registration. So any of the student wants to come and understand what the folklore or folk culture of world is. Tomorrow we are focusing on America, South America, and North America. So we're having presenters from Canada, from Bolivia, from Mexico, and USA. And there is a specific India focus. So we have collaborated with Manipal University. So tomorrow we are doing Karnataka folk dance as well. So, but it starts tomorrow a little early at 7:30 in the morning. But if you are interested, please come as an audience, ask questions, and also understand about different culture. And Sajal, you also mentioned that you like my acknowledgement. And this is one thing which we really do, is that Australia is not the country of the whites. It's the country of the aboriginals, people who have been here for 2,000 years. So we, in Australia especially, it had been very oppressive towards the aboriginals and the culture, and they had, in a way, whitewashed it. So post 1970s, an acknowledgement of that started happening. And at the academia, we always make sure that we acknowledge the struggles of the aboriginals. And whenever I'm talking to Indian institutes, I always mention the struggles of the aboriginals of India and Dalits of India, because I feel that's another struggle that we need to talk in terms of India context. So I always add that. So this is something which is our kind of respect towards the land where we are living in, and now making earning out of it. And we need to respect the people who have actually taken care of these lands for years and years. And that's what in the folklore festival we do, is that we try to appreciate the culture of others and how they have done from generation to generation. So it will be interesting. Do join us tomorrow. In fact, I'll share that audience registration link here. So if anybody wants to wake up a little early and come and join as an audience, then please do. It will be a pleasure, and you can ask questions during the Q&A thing. Yeah, and by the time I'm sharing this, so thanks, Sajal, and yeah, we can take.
Thank you so much, sir. There are a lot of questions, but I think we are short of time today. So maybe next time, whenever we are interacting with you, and I would like to tell everyone that Dr. Vikrant Kishore is our, we have been collaborating with him regularly. He is associated with us because of Deakin also, and in many initiatives we are working together. So you will get opportunity to interact with him in the near future as well. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite Professor Shushmita Bala, Head DME Media School, to share her concluding remarks and deliver vote of thanks.
Thank you, Manasvi. Thank you, Dr. Vikrant Kishore, for having such an interactive session with the students of DME Media School. It was so enlightening. Students got an opportunity to enrich themselves with so much insight into filmmaking. Dr. Vikrant Kishore has such a deep understanding of cinema beyond boundaries, from India to Australia, from China to Korea, and so on. And this was a session in which all that understanding would have been transferred to these young minds. Students, आपने बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन किए और यहाँ ये भी पूछा था कि सिनेमा कभी खत्म होगा. कभी नहीं. मीडिया में इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया, प्रिंट मीडिया या सिनेमा कभी खत्म नहीं होता है और कभी खत्म नहीं होगा. बस क्रिएटिविटी आप में होनी चाहिए. क्रिएटिविटी फैक्टर इज इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर यू. So you can think about best ideas, work on that, keep thinking to write masterpiece, जैसा सर ने बताया, and work hard, get ready for that. So thank you again, Dr. Vikrant Kishore and all the student participants. Thank you.
In DME,
we believe in engagement and empowerment of students. And since the time this COVID-19 struck in 2020, we intensified this whole process.
For the education sector, it was a big challenge. At DME, our small dynamic team decided to take this challenge head-on.
We organize different kind of programs, different webinars wherein the distinguished people from the industry and other walks of life, they are invited to interact with the students. We try to keep them engaged in taking out newsletter, writing stories, editing stories, and not only that, they make posters, they make cartoons, they write pieces for the newsletter.
Mentoring cell at DME is a very unique feature in the ecosystem of education. While the subject teachers forge the knowledge domain strongly, it is the mentors who reach out to students in difficult times. During pandemic, when our students faced loss of their loved ones, home isolation, and several other family issues, mentors ensured that students remain cheerful, lively, and stay connected with us.
We have ensured that our students are treated with compassion, warmth, and gentle touch. And it has been our endeavor to treat all the academic activities of our students, which includes PSDA, internal assignment, and various other curricular activities accordingly.
Research Cell also pays huge emphasis on interdisciplinary nature of research. In order to promote this, the research centers of the Research Cell were also motivated to join with each other and conduct research activities for students, faculties within DME and outside DME.
While the strong academics and great industry connect is building great lawyers, media persons, and managers at DME, we at Mentoring Cell are enabling these future leaders to be compassionate, emotionally strong, and resilient for any times to come.
We empower the students. All the schools of DME, they have their students' council. In DME Media School, this council is part. They organize the program themselves, they take their own decisions, and they mobilize the students for all the good cause.
Art has the power to unite and connect during the times of crisis. Bringing people together, sharing, soothing, and inspiring are powers of art, which have been made empathically obvious by the DME cultural societies during the COVID-19 pandemic. By taking different innovative approaches in organizing various virtual competitions and events in which the students of DME have taken part with great enthusiasm and proved that DMEians are unstoppable.
Care with compassion is motto of DME. During Corona period, we were always with our students. Their well-being is primary for us. We take care of our students.
We met the expectations of the students, of the parents, and above all, of the industry. The placements this year were better than those of the previous years. DME is committed to supporting its students in all possible ways.